Hi, my name is Alex with Freedom Boat Club of Virginia. I'm one of the Coast Guard certified training captains here, and today we're going to be going over tips and tricks for the dock. Today we're going to talk about port and starboard docking inside of slips. The keys to that are slow as pro and using our momentum to our advantage. We're going to go over those quickly here in a second. To start off today, we're going to talk about leaving the slip because that's the first thing you're going to have to do. When you're at our locations, this will be taken care of with the dock staff in conjunction with you, but if you're at another location such as National Harbor or any other place in Alexandria, you might have to do this on your own. First thing we're going to do is remove our dock lines. I've already got my motor started, and I want to make sure it's started and it's running before I disconnect my lines and I start to drift away from the dock. I want to remove my lines. I want to do so from on the boat so I have full control of my boat. This is preferably done by a first mate so I can stay behind the steering wheel, but I don't have that luxury today. I've got all three of my lines removed and I'm ready to start backing up now. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to look where my motor's facing. On an outboard boat, the boat's going to go exactly where the motor's facing. I'm going to click it back into reverse, and I'm going to start to exit the slip. Once I've passed the midship of the boat, past the pylon, I'm going to go ahead and click into neutral, use my momentum to coast me on back. When the bow of my boat is across the pylon and the end of the dock, I'm going to turn to the left, to the port side, place it in reverse, back into neutral. 45-degree angle, I want to turn over to starboard, click it in forward to keep that nice tight turn, and I'm ready to leave the fairway. One of the important things to be able to do in a fairway is to be able to turn around. This can be accomplished by going forward and reverse depending on how small the fairway is and how large your boat is. For today, I have a pretty large fairway. I'm going to go ahead and turn to my port side, click it into forward, back into neutral. This is going to start my turn, and I want to go as slow as possible because the slower I go, the more tight I can make my turn. The other things I want to take into account are wind speed, current, and any other boats that might be in the fairway. When I start to slow my turn down, I'm going to turn over to port, place it in reverse to continue my 180-degree turn, back over to port side and forward. The key to turning around in those fairways is to keep it slow and under control. If you're going slow, it gives you lots of time to make little corrections if a large gust of wind, a larger boat, or a current were for some reason pick up. So approaching the dock to do a starboard side docking, I want to keep in mind, number one, what slip I'm going into. I want to make sure I have my fenders and lines out on the boat if I don't already have them out on the dock. When you're docking at one of our home locations, we keep fenders and dock lines on the dock, but like I said, if you're out at any other location, you're going to have that ready for yourself. This is best done outside of the docking area to give you as much drift room as possible while you're setting yourself up. For my starboard side docking, I want to use momentum to my advantage. And for this marina, I'm pushing my momentum towards my port side. So I want to do one of two things. I either want to drive past my slip and do my 180 to come back into it, or I want to wait until my bow has passed my desired location, and then I'm going to start my turn outside of the slip. All the time I'm docking, I'm just going to be nicely bumping it around. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep me controlled but still moving. If I turn too late or the wind is pushing me down, I may have to turn over to port and place it in reverse to set my angle up. Back to starboard and forward. What I've done here now is I've turned my momentum, so now I'm facing into the slip, which means as I start to coast, it's just going to put me right where I want it to be. This part makes people nervous because they oftentimes feel like they're on a collision course with the pylon. But we're going to avoid that here by turning to port as soon as I start getting into my slip. By doing that, I'm going to push my stern over towards the dock, my boat away from that pylon. I'm going to enter really nicely. I straighten myself out. In order to come to a stop, just place it nicely in reverse. Turn a little bit towards the dock if I need to swing my stern in, and neutral. this point, I can reach out, I can grab my dock lines, or if I have dock staff here, they'll give me a hand. Midship line to stern of the boat, grab our stern line, and then grab our bow line for our location. If for some reason I was too far away from the dock, all of our boats have dock pulls. I can use that to reach out, grab the dock and bring myself in, or I can have somebody on the dock and toss them a line to help bring them in. All right, this time we're going to do a port side docking. This one, I already have momentum facing in the right direction, going in towards the marina. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. All the time I'm docking, I want to be doing what we call the bump method. That means I'm going to bump it into gear for a brief period of time and then put it back in neutral. What bumping does is it gives you enough momentum and speed to control the vessel while keeping you slow enough to make all those corrections you might need to make. The thing that gets people in trouble the most is when they start to get nervous, they increase the throttle too high or too low. Just keep in mind that if you were ever in a collision course, would you rather be going slow and lightly bump something, or would you rather be going fast and cause a lot more damage? As I get to be about a finger dock away from my target location, I'm going to start my turn. I'm going to aim for the cleat on the end of the finger dock and start to set my course. Because I have momentum pushing me into this slip onto my port side, I'm going to hug the pylon a little closer than I would normally to help me finish my turn and just glide right into that. Aiming for the second cleat right now, and as I get to the pylon, I'm going to start to aim to the third cleat in the back of the dock, or back of the slip. If you're going too fast doing this, you'll end up getting stuck on that corner, and that could be a problem. I'm now fully into my slip. I'm continuing my momentum slowly, coming towards the dock. As I'm getting close and I'm all the way in, I'll put it slightly in reverse to slow myself down to a stop. Neutral. Then I can go ahead and grab my dock lines or have my dock staff or first mate assist me in tying my vessel up. One skill often overlooked by new boaters and senior boaters alike is the ability to maintain their position in close quarters without getting too nervous. This is very important when you're going down fairways or when you're around a lot of other vessels, because you might not have the power to make quick maneuvers, so you need to be planning ahead and being able to hold yourself. The other position this might be is if you're going into a marina to dock for dinner, say, and the slips are all taken that you thought you were going to go in and you need to turn around or just hold and wait for another boat to pass you by. The best way to do this is by using small throttle movements like we do when we're docking, forward and backward, to hold yourself in position while moving left or right. You just need to remember the way you're putting the motor, the direction you're going the motor, whether forward or reverse, and also the direction of the wind and current. Right now, I have a strong wind coming from my back to my front, so my stern to my bow. So I want to stay in line with the wind as much as possible, because what it's going to do is not going to allow my boat to drift very far like it would if I was on my starboard side or port side. With small movements like this, I can hold myself right where I'm at. So as my boat starts to move bow to the right, stern to the left, I chose to go to starboard side and a little bit of reverse to center myself back out. My bow starts to come to port side a little bit. I might decide to go forward this time to kind of leave myself centered into the boat. As you're coming into one of our slips with dock staff on the dock or another location where they might be helping you assist dock, the best practice is to tie off a line to your midship cleat. Just to verify which cleat that is, you have your bow cleat, your midship cleat, and your stern cleat. Take your looped end, pass it through the center, and mushroom out just like you would for tying off to a dock. After that, coil up your line, and as you approach the dock, either reach out and pass it to the person on the dock, you may throw it to them, or you may hand it to them with a dock pull. What that's going to do is going to allow them to be able to pull the boat closer to the dock if you're having difficulty docking, there's a rough current, or strong winds. Here at Freedom Boat Club, we have some of what we call our best practices when coming to a dock. As far as tying up to a dock, we have two different types of vessels. We have our V-bows and we have our pontoon/tritoons. On our pontoon/tritoons, we'd like to use two lines, one off the bow and one off the stern. We want to attach those to cleats that are beyond the length of the boat to help bring the boat closer to the dock. This is going to be done in addition to having fendering on the boat. For our V-bow boats, we're going to do 3 lines. One off the stern, a spring off the stern, and a bow line. Once again, this is just our best practice. This is not the only way you can do it, and you can add additional springs as you see fit, as well as lines off the opposite side of the boat if the slip is smaller or if conditions warrant. At our Freedom locations, we have 4 lines on all of our boats. 2 15-foot lines that are white and gold, and 2 20-foot lines that are all white. Our black lines stay on the dock. Our dock line consists of a looped end and a running end. We're going to attach the looped end through the middle of the cleat and mushroom it around. When we go to attach the line to the dock, we're going to take our running end and bring it around the outside of the cleat. 1 full loop around and cross over the top. Next, I'm going to make my line into a bight by putting the rope back on itself, twisting it once underneath, pulling tight. It's going to create 2 lines underneath and 1 line on top. So if it looks like this, you know you've got it right. For this tip, we're going to talk about how to come into a flat dock if we're having trouble getting the whole against it because of current, wind, or any other conditions that might be controlling us. What I want to do is I want to attach one part of my boat to the dock and then use my motor to pendulum the rest of the boat securely to the dock. I want to have that appropriate fendering and appropriate dock lines before I begin this maneuver. I've picked my cleat I'd like to go to, and I'm going to aim for it as best I can. Just like docking in the slips, I'm going to be using our bump technique, placing it in gear, then back into neutral in a slow and controlled manner to ease myself over to the dock. This technique is best done with a second person, so the captain never has to leave the helm of the boat. As the boat eases to the dock, I'm going to grab the dock line and attach it to the cleat, just like I would at any other cleat. With my line attached and myself back at the helm, I'm going to turn the steering wheel towards the position I'd like to go and bump the boat in reverse to bring the boat around to the dock. Remember, just like every other time we're docking, I want to only use our bump technique and not stay under constant power and risk rushing the vessel into the dock. This is a slow and controlled maneuver. Once the boat comes over to the dock, I can grab a stern line, attach it to there, and add spring lines as I see necessary to complete my docking.